Pastor John graciously prepared a message for this morning that I am simply delivering on his behalf. So it is a joy to be up here leading worship this morning, and I'm grateful for the help that he gave me to help lead worship before he left for Texas. So this sermon is in the Altogether series that he's been on, and it is entitled, An Altogether Joy. How do we move from an almost joy to an altogether joy? In our Advent book this week, Pastor Matt Rawl writes, "Altogether joy is an encounter with God's mercy. It's a flash of eternity. It is the steadfast assurance that God is with us." End quote. This means it can be received even in the midst of pain. I would love to say that joy is always a happy feeling, but our temptation to think that joy is the same thing as happiness limits our experience almost only to an almost joy. While being happy may come and go, an altogether joy recognizes that joy can also be experienced in the midst of pain. Joy is not a moment that negates our pain or dismisses it as inconsequential or meaningless. No, joy is a steadfast assurance that God is with us always, even if pain is with us too. The Psalms can help us understand these aspects of joy and what it can mean to receive an altogether joy. One of the most popular scriptures about joy is Psalm 30. Verses 1 through 5, I'll read, "I will extol you, O Lord, for you have drawn me up and did not let my foes rejoice over me. O Lord my God, I cried to you for help, and you have healed me. O Lord, you brought my soul up from Sheol, restored me to life from among those gone down to the pit. Sing praises to the Lord, O you his faithful ones, and give thanks to his holy name. For his anger is but for a moment. His favor is for a lifetime. While weeping may linger for the night, the joy comes in the morning." What I love about this psalm, Pastor Rawl continues, is the honesty that joy is a gift, and this gift is often in the context of greater despair and sadness. The poet of Psalm 30 recognizes from the very beginning that we are in need of being drawn up. It could be the poet needs to be lifted because others have subjugated him through abuse of power and privilege. Maybe his own sins or faults have him stooping low with a burden he can no longer carry. Perhaps he has taken the posture of a servant and has forgotten that being a servant means, as Jesus says, that he is the greatest of all. We don't know, of course, nor do I think it necessarily matters. What matters is recognizing that it is God who does the lifting up. It is God who brings joy no matter our circumstances, and God who draws us upward. As the psalmist says in verse 11 and 12, "You have turned my mourning into dancing. You have taken off my sackcloth and clothed me with joy, so that my soul may praise you and not be silent. O Lord, my God, I will give thanks to you forever." So to revisit our question, how do we move from an almost joy to an altogether joy? For one, we remember that joy is a gift from God, the God who sent Jesus to demonstrate what true and unconditional love looks like. Because of God's choice to reach out to the world, joy is the steadfast assurance that God is with us, Emmanuel. Joy, rightfully experienced, reveals that line between creator and creation, and that separation line is thin. Joy is the moment we forget ourselves in the sacrificial love of Jesus who came to share with us abundant life. Just as Elizabeth's child leapt for joy when Mary, pregnant with Jesus, came to visit, we may not be able to find the right words to describe joy adequately. But we know that joy is real, because when we meet Jesus, our experience with God is exciting, awesome, and fills our entire being. Joy is where words fail and wonder begins. Joy is found at the end of our Advent journey in the manger of Bethlehem, where Jesus is born for us. Amen.